We only have a short 45-minute session, but during that time we hope to inform, inspire and encourage you to recognise the change that is coming through the industry at this time, and for you to actually recognise how you can start to embrace and to take benefit from that change. My name is John Beasley and I am Director of Business Development and Programs at the Advanced Propulsion Centre. I've been involved with automotive industry now for coming up to 40 years. And that, unfortunately, I believe, puts me into the veteran category of automotive industrialists. My roles have changed over the years from more technical to more business orientation and senior management. And if I look at where I started, I can see how much change we've already embraced. I actually started my life on a drawing board. And I'm sure that some of you in the audience will remember those days and others will wonder what on earth a drawing board is. But it just illustrates, if we just take a moment to think back, the automotive industry has already seen significant change and has overcome and taken the opportunities from it. What we see now is the continuing of that. Things may be accelerating a little bit, but it's still change and it's still something we can embrace and take the advantages from. Change is frightening. It is threatening. But as I keep stressing, it does bring rise to new opportunities. It's an opportunity for you to address potentially in your businesses some of the legacy issues that you may have or difficult issues that you haven't had a chance to address. This could be an opportunity. I fully recognise, by the way, that these are easy words for me to say, whereas you have invested potentially your soul, your personal equity, your time and effort in building your businesses to where they are today. But please, don't let those businesses wither on the vine simply because of reluctance to accept change and to adapt to change. The UK has a very strong and vibrant ecosystem that is there to help support you through this change. And just let me unpack what I mean by ecosystem a little bit. Some of you may look at that and say, oh, that is just science, that is just for the universities and the academics. That is not true at all. There is a lot of research that's required in the later stages as you move from a demonstrator into your production and to scaling your production. You need to understand what are the right ways to manufacture parts. So there's industrial research, there's experimental research. All of that is supported within the UK ecosystem that we'll talk about in a little while. It's also fair to say that today is full of uncertainty. And the graphic I'm showing now illustrates how market share of different technologies could change over time. There is no single answer to when they will happen, but I think there is a consensus that says they will happen. So the market uncertainty on top of current trading regulations, COVID recovery, technology implementation, all of these are uncertainty that you really need to embrace and not run from. I hope the next 45 minutes gives you the sort of information you need to tackle these challenges. And we'll start off with Dave O, who will give us an insight to how he sees, how the automotive industry see product and technology development and evolution over the next 15 to 20 years.
Hi there, my name is Dave O'Donnell, and I am the Head of Technology Trends at the Advanced Propulsion Centre. I'll be talking to you about the new roadmaps, as well as the opportunities in passenger car electrification. Firstly, the new roadmaps. They've had a complete overhaul and were launched last week at Cinex LCV. You can download them on our website. Although I am presenting them here, my colleagues John and Barvik did all the heavy lifting really, so credit where credit's due. They split out in product and technology roadmaps, and I'll just be talking about the main changes. So passenger cars now include light commercial vehicles up to 3.5 tons, we also have a completely new and detailed heavy goods and off-highway vehicle roadmap, reflecting the importance of this sector. And on the technology side, we have a completely new fuel cell for automotive applications roadmap. Please note that these roadmaps take a global view and were as ever conducted on behalf of the UK Automotive Council with support from BOSE. But really, it is the industry and academic input that makes these consensus roadmaps so strong. And what support we've had. Despite a pandemic, we've had fantastic input in both quantity and quality. 109 industry organisations participated actively, each bringing their unique perspective. We've held 13 workshops and completed 19 interviews with key global companies. And although not shown on this slide, we've also completed an in-depth survey. So thanks to anyone who has volunteered their time to shape these roadmaps. But what did they show? Well, we don't have much time to go into detail, but I do want to talk to you about the changes to the trends and drivers that shape these roadmaps. So ultimately, the trends and drivers are similar to 2017, but are now much more specific. And here is an example for light-duty vehicles. Tailpipe emissions split out into greenhouse gas and pollutant and resources. The latest globally most prominent legislation has been used, where known, before both are complemented or superseded by legislation on a life cycle basis. Local legislation, such as in cities and countries, including the UK, are specifically captured. As mentioned, legislation based on a product's life cycle is expected to be brought in step by step, possibly starting on a voluntary basis as early as 2025. And these roadmaps are based on this principle and include energy as well as the changing need for how transport is consumed. The roadmaps show change, and change is opportunity. So what are these opportunities? Well, one such opportunity is electrification of passenger cars. And our study into the new supply chains led to the opportunities report, which can be downloaded from our website. It found that the UK is very well positioned to land a £24 billion opportunity in the next 5 years, brought about by electrification of passenger cars. They roughly break into three main areas: batteries, e-machines, and power electronics. There are 1,001 opportunities really, but here we wanted to highlight the most significant ones where we thought the UK could play a significant role. And really there is something here for everyone. Let's look at some of the opportunities in a bit more detail from a Welsh perspective. So batteries present a huge European opportunity at £12 billion per year by 2025. Battery materials such as high-grade nickel are required in large quantities for cathode production. Welding is one of the main European nickel refineries and is where the IP was developed. Enhancing its capacity to feed the battery supply chain is a major opportunity. Electrical machines next. Electrical steel is needed in large quantities in laminations for e-machines. And we expect a shortage of supply in ultra-thin, non-grain oriented electrical steel and the capacity to stamp these over the next few years. Cogent and a number of Welsh universities have built up significant know-how in this area that could be leveraged. Next, let's look at power electronics, which include inverters, DC to DC converters, and charging equipment in electric cars. We see a part of the industry moving from silicon to wide bandgap materials such as silicon carbide and gallium nitride to improve efficiency and range of electric vehicles. These new materials present a significant set of global opportunities for semiconductor manufacturers, including the cluster around Newport. But these opportunities also transfer into the wider supply chain for power electronics, whether it's for propulsion technology, charging, or 5G connectivity even. I hope that this whistle-stop tour has provided you with some more clarity. Please do go on our website and download these reports, and do be in touch if you want to discuss specific opportunities for your company in any more detail. We were pleased to discuss these and how we might be able to support you on this journey. And with this, I hand over to my colleague, John Beasley.
So we've heard how Dave, as it described, the product changes, the technology changes going forward. But fundamentally, we shouldn't lose sight of the value that you all have within your existing businesses. So today, you've actually got a superb foundation for product delivery for the future. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the 5 key attributes of a successful supplier, it's quality, cost, delivery, development, and management. Doesn't matter what product you're making, your quality certification is based upon your process discipline. So your process discipline today may be for product A, but the same rules can apply to product B. Yes, the tolerances may change, the way you manufacture may change, but fundamentally, the certification is still the same. And that's invaluable for you as an organization as you adapt to new products. Cost. Today, you've been focused on reducing cost in the existing product. Your customers are demanding year-on-year savings. That will be no different for future products. So therefore, your ability to do the cost analysis to actually improve the efficiencies will be invaluable going forward. Delivery, what does it mean to support the logistics chains that you currently have? Just-in-time manufacturing, managing shortages and material outs. Exactly the same skills will be needed in the future. Development, you've already brought products to market once. Yes, you've got to do it again, and yes, they are different, and it's new learning. But the fundamentals of new product introduction, you know within your businesses, and you've shown within your businesses. And then finally, management. You have management within your businesses that understand automotive, understand the customer requirements. And although the product may be changing and the way you deliver it may be changing, fundamentally, you still understand the automotive industry. So what you have today is a foundation. Now what you need to do is think of a change program that will support tomorrow. And we've put in a couple of examples of where there are opportunities. So the first one is related to buzz bars for battery packs. If you are currently working with copper or aluminium materials and you are manipulating or changing its shape, a buzz bar is essentially that. And if we just look at the Europe-wide opportunity in 2025, it's between 380 and 450 million euros. We look at the total addressable market. Buzz bars are very portable. You can ship them across to different places. But just the UK alone has a 30 to 40 million euro market available. And it should be noticed that automotive is not the only player that will require buzz bars. These will be going to rail, static power, aerospace. So the number of different industry sectors is very wide for this particular product. Another product that we can look at is motor housings for e-machines. And in the UK alone, there is a potential of 35 to 40 million euros market in 2025. This product is heavier, it's less transportable. So whereas in the buzz bar we gave the European perspective, here this is more focused on a UK perspective. But people that are current, or businesses, sorry, that are currently manufacturing gear casings or engine components may look at cases for motors as the next opportunity. Automotive will clearly be a main driver of demand, especially the sort of production numbers that we're talking about. But that technology and that capability is still required in the UK, and that's an opportunity that you could think about.
Thanks, John. My name's Philippa Olden, and I'm Stakeholder Engagement Director at the APC. Part of that role is looking after the national network programmes. These are led through the technology spoke seen on the screen there, and we engage with over 600 organisations and 60 academic institutions. Their role is to look at how we can accelerate research and development through to industrial commercialisation. We run events and we really look at where we can provide insight to other parts of the organisation and other parts of the sector. These organisations span the breadth of the OEMs, the manufacturers, the SMEs and the academic institutions, but we also engage with government organisations to really bring that item of collaboration to the table. We work across the sectors, so don't just have a focus on automotive, but also look at aerospace, maritime and rail, and have a lot of engagement with organisations such as the chemical sector, whereas that seems as a real opportunity in terms of battery development. Other things that we do as part of the national network programmes is provide insight. Recently, the Electrical Energy Storage Spoke, led by Warwick University, published a report on battery recycling that looked at all the available options and the technologies that could be used within this field, highlighting where UK industry might want to invest. In addition to that, we have published the Transport Energy Network report in collaboration with the Low Carbon Vehicles Partnership and led by the Thermal Propulsion Thermal Efficiency Spoke. This looks at work bringing together the sectors that are harder to decarbonise, so maritime, rail and aviation, as well as our heavy duty sector, to look at where there may be a collaboration and an aggregation of technology demand. So again, can we focus research and innovation in these fields? Finally, one area to highlight and a real opportunity for the UK is the area of digitalisation. Our current digital engineering test spoke, Loughborough University and led by the Institute of Digital Engineering, is reworking its digital roadmaps at the moment to really look at how we can drive development and technology improvement in this area to look at accelerating products to market as well as saving time and cost. Now to hand over to Dan.
My name is Dan Bunting. I'm the Head of Business Development at the Advanced Propulsion Centre. I'm going to talk to you today about the innovation funding landscape and the APC project portfolio. The automotive research and development ecosystem is shown on the slide. It begins with fundamental research that takes place at world-leading universities and research organisations across the whole of the UK. The next stage involves a proof of concept or prototype, and Innovate UK run a wide range of funding programmes to support this phase of R&D. The APC, launched in 2013, provides funding for the next phase, which begins the industrialisation. Often referred to as the Valley of Death, the funding ensures application readiness by resolving key issues around design and manufacturing. The final piece of the jigsaw is the Automotive Transformation Fund, launched earlier in 2020. The fund helps industrialisation at scale by funding both research and development and capital investment. £10 million has been allocated to 32 feasibility studies, all focused on anchoring key elements of the supply chain for electrified vehicles in the UK. The automotive R&D ecosystem is further complemented by elements of the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund. This covers batteries, motors and drives, and digital technology. The ISCF works across all sectors, which is important as many new technologies have multiple routes to market, and shared learning is also important if rapid progress is to be made. The Faraday Battery Challenge is helping the UK become a world leader in battery development and production. The challenge is backed by £274 million of government investment and brings together scientists and industry partners on research projects to reduce battery cost, weight and volume, and to improve performance and reliability, and to develop whole life strategies including recycling and reuse. The Driving the Electric Revolution Challenge Fund focuses on power electronics, motors and drives. These technologies are also critical to the performance and success of electrified vehicles and the UK transport sector. The DER Fund has set up several centres of excellence across the UK to support the manufacture and scale up of these important technologies. And finally, we have the Made Smarter Fund, which supports digitalisation elements across all these areas required to accelerate progress. So, as you can see, we have a strong funding landscape in the UK, and each of the organisations mentioned will be happy to discuss your requirements. Now we move on to the APC project portfolio, which has been developed over the past 16 funding rounds. Each of the 66 projects is collaborative and has a clear route to market and involves at least one small or medium-sized company. The APC scope covers a wide range of technology, and this has resulted in a very diverse portfolio. The 66 projects funded to date are worth over £1 billion, with just under half of that funded by the UK government directly in the form of grant payments. The projects themselves involve 206 unique organisations, which include OEMs, Tier 1s, supply chain, SMEs, technology developers, universities, and other research and technology organisations. The impact of these projects has been significant. Over 50,000 jobs have either been created or safeguarded. Nearly 250 million tonnes of CO2 has been saved, which equates to 9.5 million vehicles off the road. If we look at the portfolio in more detail, it will help us understand how the funding can be used. I'll highlight one or two projects. Gyrodrive, led by GKN. This project took a flywheel technology developed for motorsport and re-engineered it for the bus market. This meant a redesign with a greater focus on cost and reliability. This is an example of where R&D can be completed on an existing technology with a new application or route to market. The second project we have is called HFEMS and is led by JLR. This is a make-like production project for electric motors. The project resulted in a facility at the University of Warwick to develop the tools and processes to manufacture, assemble, and test electric motors at high volume with a target of 1 unit every 50 seconds. The project provided key information into the design for manufacture and has supported several decisions in make versus buy, the R&D being applied to several manufacturing processes in a wide number of businesses. The ZERI project, led by Intelligent Energy, is a project to develop a fuel cell system, and the application was a fleet of scooters used by the Met Police in London. The scooters were fueled by hydrogen and used throughout the city in a large fleet trial. The project attracted Suzuki into the UK within the R&D landscape for the first time. On the final slide, we have two more projects. The first one being Diet, led by Ashwoods. This is a project to develop electric transmissions for a wide range of industrial vehicles, including lifting equipment, forklift trucks, and golf carts. Export opportunities beyond conventional automotive were realised as a result of this project, and the business itself was recently acquired by Dana, with further plans for investment and growth now on the cards. The final project I'm going to mention is called Hyperbat. We hear about the challenges around battery cells, but we have to consider the challenge of battery module and pack assembly. The project addressed this requirement for the medium volume segment in the UK, and a partnership between Williams Advanced Engineering and Unipart was formed and has resulted in a new business manufacturing battery modules and packs in the Coventry area. That rounds up the portfolio, so I'd now like to hand over to Zoe, who will explain how you can access funding via our competition framework.
Thanks, Dan. I'm Zoe Hall, Head of Competitions and Projects. My role within the APC is leading a fantastic team who develop and deliver the R&D late stage competitions we run through APC Core and ARMED programme, plus the ATF programme you'll hear about later from Julian. We then support these successful projects to deliver the greatest impact they can. I thought it'd be useful to outline what we're searching for from a core project perspective so that you can get involved. The APC are looking to support the late-stage UK-based R&D projects that will accelerate the growth and advance low-carbon propulsion capability. These projects should develop on-vehicle technologies or material product and manufacturing processes which lead to industrialisation and further strengthen the UK supply chain. To give you an example of the types of projects we're looking for, it would be projects addressing, for example, motors, batteries, power electronics, or say, alternative propulsion systems. In addition, the projects should be business-led. They need to contain an SME supporting that supply chain that is so crucial, and they should typically be between £5 and £40 million. They need to be match funded, and importantly, there needs to be a clear route to market at the end of the project, so the inclusion of an OEM or a Tier 1 is imperative. So now let me give you a very brief overview of what the APC application looked like. It is run through the Innovate UK IFS system, which some of you may be familiar with, and it comprises 4 parts with some initial key questions. Overall, it's important that there's a strong story running through your application. Your solution needs to match the opportunity, your route to market needs to be aligned with your project plan, and your project plan needs to be matched with your team, resources and costings. So part 1 is all about the business case. What is the problem you're trying to solve? How does the potential market you're targeting look like? How are you planning to industrialise at the end of the project, ultimately making money? And what are the impacts? And consider the wider economic, social and environmental benefits here. Part 2 is around the project itself. How will you manage the project effectively? What approaches will you take? And where will the focus of the innovation be? What are the main risks for the project? And who is in the project team? And how are you going to deliver this collaborative project? Part 3 is focused on finance and that all-important added value. Does your project represent good value for money? And why should public money be used to fund this project? And finally, the last part, part 4, is around further exploration by the appraisers for the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy in terms of whether the project is good value for money. So in this last slide, I'm looking to plan ahead, and these are the provisional dates you have for core competitions in 2021, with APC 18 opening in January. I really look forward to hearing from you when you are ready to apply, and I'd now like to hand over to Julian Hetherington. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Julian Hetherington, Automotive Transformation Director at the APC. This may well be the most challenging period in the industry's history, so I'd like to set out a key tool that helps accelerate this electrification transformation, where not only is the technology platform being reinvented, but business models, supply chains, funding arrangements, consumer ownership and usage models are all subject to dramatic change. In other words, the paradigm is shifting. Our response to the global pandemic may further accelerate our journey towards a lower carbon transport future through usage pattern changes, more home-based working over the long term and less commuting, and perhaps wanting to lock in many of the benefits of cleaner air in our urban spaces and mitigate the drivers for climate change that's impacting so many around the world. We recognise that any in-vehicle system has a long upstream supply chain, and to make the industry competitive, we need an equally competitive supply chain right the way through to raw materials. The UK government has demonstrated significant commitment to R&D in this industry, and this focus is in line with the UK's ambitions on net zero and supports the grand challenges of clean growth and the future of mobility. Building on the support through the APC since 2013, the government announced the Automotive Transformation Fund last year, and which we launched in July this year. It's accessed through the APC, and we are already supporting over 30 feasibility studies with a total grant of £10 million, and have received a number of significant expressions of interest for large-scale projects in the first few months alone. ATF funding is designed to form the last part of that bridge from R&D into industrialisation at scale, a programme that can provide support for investors in the key electrified vehicle technology areas of batteries, fuel cells, motors, drives and power electronics, and crucially, their upstream supply chains, as this is where global competitiveness will be underpinned. The tipping point is coming at us fast, and that brings great opportunities, but also some risk. Our aim is to help mitigate some of those risks and accelerate this remarkable transition. The funding is planned to support a number of areas. Firstly, feasibility studies that may assess product or process scale-up challenges, or equally help to identify specific areas where the UK context needs to work to make conditions right for your investment project. Secondly, capital investment support for large-scale industrial projects, where there is a need to bridge the gap in order to make the UK investment viable or to reduce risk to an acceptable level in the early years. This is about fast forwarding to a competitive position that can be sustained in the long term. We may also support late-stage R&D associated with investment, process development, product process compatibility, for example. And the UK already has a great head start with access to the high-value manufacturing catapults, and for batteries specifically, the UK Battery Industrialisation Centre in Coventry, an industrial-scale testbed for developments in battery chemistry, materials, architectures, and process development in a low-risk environment. Our ambition is simple: to become a global leader and the preferred location for the design, development, and manufacturing of electrified vehicles and their supply chains. You can find details of the programme and how to contact us on our website, and we'd like to help you through each stage so that you can benefit from our network and research base. And of course, we work closely with colleagues in BEIS and DIT. The process starts with a simple registration through our funding tool on our website. We'll help guide projects that are a good strategic fit with the ATF aims throughout the process. We're looking for large-scale projects that fill key strategic supply chain areas, and in doing so, we plan to create the right landscape for a fully competitive and sustainable market environment that can support the industry in the UK and beyond. Our aims are simple: secure this electrification transformation at pace, keep our technological leadership position throughout, support our strong export performance, and the UK's green recovery. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to working with the industry to accelerate this fantastic transformation opportunity.
Thank you. Innovate UK has been helping to secure the future of the UK's automotive R&D landscape for well over a decade. Since 2007, we've seen 400 R&D projects funded, with over 450 organisations involved and 423 million in grant awarded, and this excludes the opportunities via APC, Faraday and DER. Today, we continue to work in partnership with OLEV to support mid-TRL innovation in the zero-emission vehicle space, while also enabling R&D in vehicle charging. Looking forward, we expect to see a continuation of this support to help meet government aspirations around emissions, and critically to unlock the value chain associated with more electrified vehicles of all sizes. However, it is also recognised that convening opportunities across the transport sector must start to be realised, whether that is in rail, maritime, aerospace or micromobility, all areas where our UK invests already. All have similar needs to the automotive sector, which may support the increase in horizontal supply chain opportunities. This is all against the backdrop of new considerations, prospects and complexities for the automotive sector to work through, including big data, machine learning, digitalisation, new business models and social science, to name but a few. Innovate UK is looking at how to better enable or unblock this by using our networks which cross the transport landscape, the fundamental and enabling technologies underpinning it, and the B2B connections needed to join it up. We also want to make sure that innovation is able to take risk and be able to fail fast to learn and progress. Recognise that this will only be possible through a robust, streamlined delivery framework that provides the right support under the right conditions, which Innovate UK and our partners remain committed to achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh Den. I'm the Head of SME Programmes at the Advanced Propulsion Centre. As you'll learn through the course of this presentation, all of APC's work is about engaging with and accelerating automotive innovation, and we do this across organisational sizes. We recognise that for smaller businesses, especially those with early stage technology concepts, breaking into the auto industry can be really challenging. And that's why we created Tdap, our SME Accelerator programme. Tdap takes cohorts of ambitious UK-based SMEs, be them startups, spin-outs, or more mature businesses, that are all developing low-carbon automotive products. Tdap provides early stage technology funding coupled with expert mentoring, consultancy and support. And we find that this package of support really helps people move forward fast. Companies that go through our process typically benefit through the development of their product concepts, but they also develop new strategies and plans with accelerated routes to market, engage with potential customers and partners, and indeed many go on to raise investment. We've had really excellent engagement in the programme over the last 4 years. We've supported over 50 businesses, and across those businesses, technologies such as new energy storage and management systems, novel thermal control technologies, lightweight materials, and even a couple of digital tool developments. And through the programme, these businesses have all been able to take real meaningful steps towards their commercial goals. So lastly, I want to leave you with a few impacts of the programme and a sense of the timeline if you do want to engage. In terms of impacts, successful participants typically develop their technology up to real technology readiness level 4 or 5, and that puts them in a great place to take the next step on. Businesses report that they feel that they've really been accelerated by the programme, way beyond where they otherwise would have been, and some say up to by 36 months, which is a really truly meaningful step in the life cycle of an SME. Lastly, 28 companies have completed the programme, and across those 28, they've raised £16 million worth of investment, and we expect that number to keep growing as these businesses move forward. So great impacts. If you are interested in the programme, for the next wave, we're expecting to be in the position to make an announcement very soon, and we hope to be accepting expressions of interest and issuing application documents in the first quarter of next year. So perhaps you're an ambitious early stage SME, or indeed you could be a service provider who deals with these kind of businesses, or you may even be an investor with someone within your portfolio who could benefit from our programme. If you'd like to know more, please don't hesitate to make contact. You can either be added to our mailing list or just find out more information. Email us on tdap@apcuk.co.uk, or indeed have a look at our website to find out more. Thank you very much, and I'll now hand over to John Beasley to talk through some APC case studies.
We'd like to share now a couple of short case studies. The first one is a company called Penso. They've taken a conventional handcrafted product and automated it. The reason for automation is for efficiency, but also physical size of the components that they're now making. They're applying this new technology into a new market sector that has emerged, which is the refrigerated delivery vehicles. The second project is Hyperdrive, and that's a small company in the northeast of England that have actually worked on an APC project with Nissan and utilised the technology that Nissan developed in a range of different and new industry sectors, which has allowed that business to grow significantly.
The APC is a genuine catalyst for change. We're improving technology, we're reducing CO2 emissions at a time when it's utterly critical to be doing that. They say engineers make things happen. I think that's really what's interesting about the job. We started the Hyperdrive journey, I guess, right back at university. I actually wrote my final year project on hybrid and electric vehicles, which was over 22 years ago now. What really inspires me is seeing the technology be developed and actually see products in the hands of our customers. When Hyperdrive first started, it was absolutely tiny. We literally started in a porter cabin in the New Forest. The water would freeze in the middle of winter. So to move to the facility we're in today, it's a fantastic environment to be in. Over time, we refined the business model, the plan, really choosing to focus on the energy storage part of it. And then, of course, the involvement with Nissan and the relationship with Nissan was a huge turning point for the business.
The consortium actually came about following a discussion, believe it or not, in Japan about development of batteries, and was two universities, which was Newcastle University, Warwick University. Nissan was the main OEM, and you had Hyperdrive, who were the SME, and ourselves, Zero Carbon Futures. This is the first time Nissan, as an organisation, has allowed its automotive technology to be used by a third party, and they decided this was a good opportunity to work in a collaborative way, and they introduced the APC, and we just put two and two together.
Nissan plant in Sunderland accounts for 26% of all EVs produced in Europe, so having that right on the doorstep and all the supporting companies is really quite good. The interesting bit about Hyperdrive is that it's such a small company, but they're incredibly ambitious.
Hyperdrive's grown very quickly, so an average of 80% year on year since we started. The APC project was absolutely critical to this phase in growth, in encouraging the collaboration, but also in really binding partners together.
We need UK-based companies who are developing this technology. Growing people like Hyperdrive is what the industrial strategy is about. It's what we should be doing.
So we hope you've enjoyed this session, and the information that we've given you is educational, inspirational, and motivates you to want to change. I think it's fair to say that change is ever present. And if I look back to my early days to today, we can see that. However, perhaps in today's business world, the pace of change and disruption may have increased. Hopefully today we've shared with you thoughts on what the future is looking like, and that support is, although not guaranteed, within reach for those that want to make change happen and have the ambition to drive it through. Funding is available. Companies like yours have put in the effort and made it happen. It is not an exclusive club. However, you and your teams need to recognise and embrace change and decide how best to implement it and what you want from a brighter, greener future. The team at the APC, the team at the Welsh Automotive Forum, the team at Innovate UK are all there to help you on your journey. Please reach out, and the best of luck.